Fighting the Frizzies at 11.
A little while ago I did a couple of unboxing videos looking at some South Park vinyl records I have in my collection, and one that I did not cover was the holiday-themed Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics. 'Tis the season, and so for this festive video I thought we'd take a look at the record itself, along with the episode from Season 3 that was inspired by the album. I think it goes without saying this is essential listening for South Park fans around the holidays, and this album was recorded all the way back in 1999, a collaborative project between the show creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone, along with Mark Shaman, who worked on the South Park movie soundtrack. In the audio commentary for the Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics episode, Trey and Matt confessed the album was made so they could just keep working with Mark. They enjoyed writing the musical numbers for the movie, and I feel the same energy is captured by these songs. If there's one thing the show consistently gets right in my opinion, it's the music. And looking at the front cover design for the album, I think the realism in this image is hilarious, but Trey and Matt apparently regret making this the main album cover. It doesn't reflect the recognizable art style of South Park, and with this in mind, apparently the album sales weren't great, which is kinda surprising, especially after the success of Bigger, Longer and Uncut, which saved the show's reputation following a disappointing reaction to Season 2. I believe this version is the 2021 album repressing, which has some updated artwork and a lyric sheet included on the inside. And this is the sleeve that the record is contained in, with a lovely Mr. Hankey image there, which is the same on the other side. And then the record itself is just a standard black vinyl record, unlike the original, which was very well done, being an appropriately brown record in the spirit of Mr. Hankey. I really appreciate the updated artwork included for this particular re-release, with images there from various early holiday episodes. Plus, being a lyric sheet, it's great to see these are completely uncensored to my surprise. And speaking of, I rewatched my DVD copy of the episode before making this video, and I forgot that the early seasons of the show are so heavily censored in terms of the dialogue. Some people find the bleeps funny, and for a music-centric episode, to be honest, I disagree. I find it really distracting. It does make me want to upgrade to the Blu-rays of the show, where the audio from Season 2 onwards is luckily uncensored. We'll go through the track list in order, starting with Mr. Hankey the Christmas Poo, which is genuinely my personal favourite from the album. It's hilarious, iconic, and Trey's vocals really help elevate the festive feeling. And there are some fun quirks to the animation done to this song, such as the wooden puppet-style postman character, and I believe this was inspired by the stop-motion film Santa Claus is Coming to Town from the early 70s, and this is where Mr. Hankey is introduced, setting the tone for the episode. And I like how this one feels like a music video compilation. I would arguably say the animation does help enhance the comedy behind the music. And naturally, there are some tunes I just didn't really care for, at least at first, but I feel were improved as part of the episode thanks to the animation. For example, the next track on the album performed by Mr. Garrison, Merry Fucking Christmas, where apparently every year he tries to force Christmas on places around the world that just don't celebrate the holidays. And seeing him try and bring Christmas to the Middle East, for example, really cracked me up. On a more innocent note in comparison, we have Oh Holy Night performed by Eric Cartman, and this sees him change the song lyrics to be, I guess, more selfish, which is supposed to be reflective of his personality. Not one of my favourites, if I'm being honest. Next is Dead Dead Dead, which is a deliberately sort of morbid song that only features on the album. It's not part of the episode, but the soft vocals really cracked me up, along with the children singing the backing vocals. Next up is Carol of the Bells, featuring Mr. Mackey, one of my favourite side characters who I feel got progressively funnier as the show went on.
Getting rid of tooth decay is what I'm trying to fucking do!
And this is a relatively short filler piece that has some fun animation quirks for the episode, but is nothing special. Next up we have The Lonely Jew on Christmas, which is one of my favourites taken from the original Mr. Hankey episode back in Season 1. And there's some fantastic lyrics to this piece, and I love Kyle's innocence and his internal conflict over his faith around the holiday season, and seeing the other kids embrace Christmas, he struggles with being Jewish and questions why he's brought up differently. There's some interesting arguments to appreciate, and it's a great episode overall covering this subject. I Saw Three Ships is definitely made funnier thanks to the animation where Stan's sister Shelley tries singing but her range is restricted by her braces, and being laughed at, she brutally beats Stan and Kyle with a piano, which was a fun way to round out that track. And then rounding out side A, we have It Happened in Sun Valley, which is quite a sweet and catchy song between Stan and Wendy, genuinely one of my favourites from the album, which I feel it's unfortunate that it didn't make it into the episode. And then contrasting this, we fall into the fiery depths of hell with Adolf Hitler singing O Tannenbaum, a short intermission track and overall a very strange but funny sequence where he recalls past Christmas experiences and how there's no Xmas tree in hell. And I didn't realise this, but in the flashbacks, Hitler's mother shares the same character model as Jimmy's mother. Setting up the next track, Christmas Time in Hell is another favourite, and I love when Satan is given a musical number which feels deliberate following the South Park movie. Most of side B sadly doesn't feature in the episode, but there are some good songs on here, another personal favourite being a contribution from Isaac Hayes as Chef with What the Hell Child Is This? Very surprised this wasn't included as part of the episode, and I love his vocals in this, being a very sort of smooth, soul-themed track. Next up we have another piece from the Season 1 Mr. Hankey episode, being Santa Claus is on his way, and it's a very short interlude track, but this moment will never not be funny to me, as juvenile as it sounds, where Kyle is framed as though he's been smearing shit all over his bathroom, but the part that always cracks me up is seeing the poo flop to one side when he begins trying to talk to the so-called Mr. Hankey, trying to encourage him to say something.
Kyle!
Say something, Mr. Hankey!
Next is Swiss Colony Beef Log, another Cartman song singing about his desire for a food product he apparently has every year, and how his neighbours forgot to get him one, but luckily his grandma left one under the Christmas tree. Next is Hark the Herald Angels Sing, which is one of the more generic tracks on the album, but another favourite, which is part of the episode, is Dreidel Dreidel Dreidel, with Kyle trying to introduce the clay Dreidel toy to his younger brother Ike, and he struggles to do this with Cartman singing over him, belittling the Jewish holiday traditions.
Oh, it's that Hanukkah thing. It's so amazing. You spin this thing on the ground and it goes round and round. I could watch it all day.
Another Mr. Hankey song. Next up is the most offensive song ever, with Kenny McCormick hilariously singing muffled lyrics, detailing a side to the Virgin Mary you might not have heard before. And if you struggle to understand Kenny generally, definitely read up on the lyrics for this song. And following that we have We Three Kings, which is another filler track. This one is sung by Mr. Usse from the Chin Pokemon episode. Kind of unexpected and definitely a forgettable track in my opinion.
Mr. Horse Penis is especially small.
So small.
Rounding off the album, we have the soothing, conclusive track Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, where all the characters come together to celebrate the holiday season with Mr. Hankey, and I love the melody for this one, and I like how it ends with the characters saying goodbye to Mr. Hankey, who ends up flushed down the toilet wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. It's interesting to me how one song remains exclusive to the episode, being the competitive Christmas medley between Jesus and Santa. And apparently this one was written for the album, but sadly Parker and Stone couldn't get the clearance rights in time for all the songs used before the album release date. And I also think it's funny how they animated Mark Shaman in this scene, who first appeared in the South Park movie, and then later reappeared in the episode Cripple Fight, given a speaking role with Big Gay Al.
Frizzies at 11.
I feel context behind the phrase fighting the Frizzies at 11 is worth a mention, because I had no familiarity with this at all, thinking it was typical Parker and Stone nonsense. And for those unfortunate enough to have seen the disastrous Star Wars holiday special, you likely watched a bootleg version of the original television airing. The special was never aired again and never officially released, but that won't stop fans sharing their own copies, and one that circulated featured a TV commercial with with the phrase fighting the Frizzies at 11, and this is given a whole new meaning when the South Park editor is dressed as a news anchor fighting this discount Chewbacca creature. Brilliant payoff for an otherwise very bizarre reference. Anyway, that's going to do it for this festive video looking at Mr. Hankey's Christmas classics. Overall, a fun album that does capture the spirit of South Park, but also the spirit of the holiday season. Let me know in the comments if you have this album in your collection. Please do leave me a like if you enjoyed, and for more videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, DVD Review Studios, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all my fellow viewers and subscribers.
Are you threatening me?